Welcome, everyone, to It's Time to Excel, where we inspire and we ignite the possibilities that are all around us. Today, we are in March. We've talked about this. It is March Madness. So, we are touch pointing some different technology options that are out there for you to try to reduce some of the March Madness that you may be having and experiencing when it comes to making sure that you can run your business efficiently and effectively. And that's what it's all about. So, today, one of my favorite subjects, of course, which is money and the finances and understanding that. So let's take a step back. Let's start thinking a little bit about what options we have available for us. So, first and foremost, welcome and let's get started. So, why do we need to know our numbers? Why do we need to know these crazy numbers? Well, it's how we're going to keep an eye on how the business is doing. How is it truly doing? Not the emotional chaos that comes along with it, but truly, what are the numbers telling you? Those numbers are telling you how your business is doing. So let's start thinking about that. If I know how things are, and if I know, that's the key word, if I know what my numbers are, one of the biggest advantages I have is I can start responding instead of reacting. Think about that for just a minute. I could respond instead of react. How often do you react? My guess is probably pretty regular. It's part of business. We get that. But let's take a step back. If I have constantly, and I've got a bunch of things that are coming in and flying at me, and I'm trying to deal with all of this, am I going to make the best decision because I have to make it in, and I may not even have all the facts yet, but I'm going to make a decision based upon what little bit I know, if I even know anything. That's a reactive way to run your business. And that's not what I'm going to encourage you to do. I want you to respond. Now, of course, there's going to be times where you're going to have to react. It is part of the deal of welcome to life. However, let's see if we can limit some of those reactive and push it over to responsive. What do I mean by that? If I start knowing my numbers and I know what those numbers are, and I know, for example, that taxes are going to be due around April 15th, just in case anybody was wondering, last time I checked, the date didn't move this year. Up until last year, I could always say it was always April 15th. It was about as good as, December 25th is Christmas. You guys get the idea. April 15th is around the corner. And if you're doing an LLC and a business S Corp, all of those fun little things, so the business corporate returns, guess when they're due? March 15th. Just a reminder that if you're an S Corp or you're doing it, you probably need to have been in contact with your accountant to make sure, or your tax accountant, to make sure your taxes are being filed properly. But let's think about this. If I know what my numbers are, and I know that those taxes are due, I've always encouraged, why not plan for it throughout the year? So I don't have to try to come up with X number of dollars on April 15th to pay my taxes that I knew were coming. Instead, I can respond by simply writing the check. That's what I want to encourage you to do. It's baby steps. We've got to start where we're at and take steps towards that goal. The only way you're going to know if you're even hitting your goal, guess what you need to do? You need to know your numbers. Where are you starting at? Where do you want to get to? And what steps can you measure along the way? So, when it comes to finances, it is imperative that you know your numbers. It's vital to your long-term success. Like it or not, it's here to stay. So, that being the case, if it's here to stay, what do we got to do? So, of course, there's a ton of tools and tricks and software, and the list is endless. And that's why it's called March Madness, because the list is endless. You can come in there and you can start with something as simple as pen and paper. It's kind of a lot of labor intensive on that one, but you know what? Some people it works for. If you have a very small business, pen and paper just might work. I have a friend that pen and paper worked great for her for a few years, for actually a lot of years. But we've slowly migrated to the next thing, which is a spreadsheet. Spreadsheets at least take the math out. and allow you to make adjustments pretty quickly. And if your formulas are correct, it will update your numbers for you. So that at least streamlines the process a little bit. But let's face facts. If you're in business, you have got to get a software that's going to help you to manage your finances. And the one that I want to talk to you about today, of course, is the one that I actually work with the most, which is QuickBooks Online. But there are a ton of other softwares out there. The main thing is you're using something, because you know my philosophy. The best system for you is the one you are going to use. So let's find one we're going to use. But let's specifically talk a little bit about how QuickBooks Online can make your business financial, that whole big picture that seems so overwhelming, so very overwhelming, not be so crazy, not be so chaotic, not be so overwhelming. And it can be. If QuickBooks is set up properly for you and you maintain it and keep up to date with it, you're going to have your numbers at your fingertips. You can actually access it to your phone, which is a cool little advantage. So even if you're out and about, you can invoice on the fly. If you're out and you can invoice, you can take a credit card on the fly. You can take cash payment on the fly. How about that? You actually are able to do all of this fairly automated because it's at your fingertips. There's an app. That app also allows you to track your mileage. One of the biggest deductions for small business owners and entrepreneurs is that mileage deduction. Now, granted, we haven't been traveling as much as we were, but still, there's miles there, and you don't want to forget to record them. And that being the case. So the system that we can put in place for you is part of QuickBooks Online. So it gives you a lot of extra little bonuses that you may or may not realize. Mileage is one of the biggest ones. So it just reads a location on your phone and enters a line item, and then it's as simple as swiping left or right to tell it whether or not it's business or personal. Can't get much easier. Then at the end of the year, you hit this lovely little download button, and it downloads a CSV file. Simple, quick, and effective. That's what we're trying to do, because the whole purpose is we've got to manage our money, but we don't want to add a ton of hours to our day. And that's what we're talking about. So, in addition to that, QuickBooks also allows you to connect all of your bank accounts, your credit cards, all of that in one place. So instead of going out to bank one and bank two and bank three and this credit card and that credit card, because it's all for the business. Okay, I did say it's all for the business. Business, bank accounts, and credit cards. I'm going to repeat that again. Business, credit cards, and bank accounts. And if you guys know you work with me, I'm going to harp on that one. Business bank account or business credit cards that are dedicated just for business items. They need to be connected to your QuickBooks. So what does the connection give me? Automation. I don't know about you, but I don't like to key. I really don't. I want to get a little assistance on that. Because when I key, I make mistakes or I get sidetracked, or I could be just quote unquote dyslexic in the respect that I could flip an 8 and a 9 very easily. And all of a sudden 98 became 89. You get the idea. So there's different things. So by connecting into the bank, it's twofold benefit to you. So we connect all of our accounts. So one thing is we have all of our expenses, all of our income in one location. That's crucial. That's huge. Because now you can see the big picture. Not just the details, but the big picture. That's important. I get those all connected. And then it goes out to the bank and it downloads the transactions. So those transactions come in. So it gives me the starting point. So I get an amount. I get a basic description. Sometimes they're not the greatest, but I get a description. And now I can start using QuickBooks to identify specifics on those expenses, on that income. And I don't have to key as much. I just have to tell it what it is or confirm what it is and make sure it's coded properly. And then I simply hit add. So I can get a lot of my trades. So I can do a bunch of transactions in a fairly effective and efficient manner in order to be able to see that big picture. That big picture, when it has the finances, makes such a difference. It's a big picture. So now I have all of my income, all of my expenses in one place. And the biggest advantage of QuickBooks Online is once I do that part of it, I can start running reports. And by having the reports that I need. So what reports do I need? We need a profit and loss. Are you making money or are you losing money? Depends on the month. But you need to know this. You need to know what that is. The reporting feature in online allows you to go ahead, and that's why the softwares are important. They should have reports there available. And QuickBooks Online has a variety of reports depending on what subscription level you're in. Depends on there how many reports are already created for you. You just have to simply run them, making things so much easier, making it possible to have the numbers at your fingertips because you can run those same reports on your phone. Three things that QuickBooks allows you to have. It allows you to have mileage, it allows you to connect into there, and it allows you to get your reports. Those are keys if you want to be successful. Still sound a little overwhelming? It doesn't have to be. And if you're considering QuickBooks Online, I'd love to encourage you to have a little conversation. Let's make sure you're on the right version. At least allow me to share some of the differences with you. Go to chatwithjanet.com and book a chat with Janet, and then we can have a conversation. Let's take a moment and make sure that if you're considering QuickBooks, let's make sure that the one you're considering is the right subscription level for you because there's a lot of them out there. In addition to that, we can talk about options available to help you get it set up properly. I work from clients that have DIY options, so I get them up and running and get them set up in the right direction, clear up to taking care of the bookkeeping for them. I have expanded services this year, so we can help guide some of that and truly help you to manage your money without adding hours to your day. How would that be? So that you can run your business more efficiently and effectively. Because the bottom line is, if you're going to hit goals, you need to have a system to track your numbers. You have to. You've got to have it out there. And a software such as QuickBooks allows you to do that. You know what your income, even the sources. Do you have different sources of income? That's another thing that you can add to QuickBooks as it's coming in. So we can start identifying. Your tax account probably just needs to know how much income you've got coming in. Great. But you as the business owner need to know where that income source is coming from. Where's it coming from? So if we start putting a little time up front, when you run those reports, they become even more valuable. They become more beneficial because now you're starting to see trends, not only in the high level detail, but what detail makes sense for you. And that's a big part of it. Your chart of accounts, I talk about that occasionally, and the chart of accounts is the hub of your software program. But you got to understand how they're working. You got to have at least a basic understanding of, is it an asset? Is it a liability? Is it an equity? Is it income? Is it an expense? And that list goes on and on. As crazy as it is, accounting has its own little language. It's just part of the deal. And I want to encourage you because after all, it's time to excel. It's time for you to excel. And one of the ways you can do that is with a proper financial software in place. The one that I use and the one that I train most of my clients on is, of course, QuickBooks Online. It can be your best friend. It can be your worst nightmare as well. The choice is yours. And I encourage you to make a very good choice. Have something that's going to manage this. If you want to learn a little bit more about QuickBooks Online, I'd encourage a conversation. Love to have you just let me know. Let me know if I can help guide you on that so that you can get the numbers at your fingertips. You can take advantage of the extras that are part of there. And there's a lot of other options out there to streamline some of the processes and some of the ways. One of the other cooler features, we'll just add a fourth bonus little item in here, of course, is the receipt snap. Receipts are always a problem because you lose them. They go in a pocket. They go into the who knows where, the great abyss. And then you forget to take that deduction that you're legitimately able to take. And you can do that to make sure. But how do you got to have a system. But let's make a simple system. So why not take advantage, if you're using QuickBooks Online, take advantage of the receipt snap feature that's already part of your subscription. There's so many benefits that are there that folks don't realize. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, because I don't want you to be going crazy trying to figure all this out. But what I encourage my clients is snap that receipt at the time it happens, then go drop it into a folder so that you have it for audit purposes. Most importantly is you have it in the system now. And guess what? When you go in to look at your QuickBooks and you're reviewing what's hit your credit card, You get to match it to that receipt. Funny thing, if your procedure is always to snap it and it doesn't match when you go into QuickBooks Online, there's a problem. What's the problem? Wouldn't it be nice to know what that problem is before you have 15 or 20 of them to fix? Why not fix that one right there? 9 times out of 10, either it didn't read the account right, or maybe you thought it was 89 and the computer thought 98. Okay, it's human. Okay, not really. We're human. We make oopsies. Things happen. Sometimes when the computers are reading it, an 8 may look like a 6. Little things like that will happen. By using this feature, now you have put a checks and balance in, and you didn't put any extra work in. And you also connect that picture to that individual transaction. So if a question comes up or you can't quite remember what it is, guess what? It's right there. If you work with me and I'm taking care of the accounting services for you, guess what? I can look at that receipt and you have a note on there because if you went out with a client mill, you have it noted. Jot a little note right on it at the time. And guess what? Now we can help take care of that for you and not have to ask as many questions. Different benefits, different options that are out there. Take advantage of them. Because after all, it's time for you to excel. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you got a little bit of thoughts as we're going through our March Madness as we explore different options that are out there. And I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Take care, everyone. And seriously, if anyone has any questions on QuickBooks Online, I'd welcome a conversation. At least allow me to educate you so you know what your options are and help you make an educated decision. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And join us again next week for It's Time to Excel, where we inspire and we ignite the possibilities that are all around us. Take care.